Life update. As I wrote this down, so I won't keep going and going because I could keep going and going and going on this subject. As a Christian pro-life advocate, God has called my heart to speak for our children, born and unborn. So today I want to give you a little update on the state of safety we find our children in today, right now, in the United States and across the globe. This past month of June, we celebrated Pride Month. We celebrated pride and sin. We celebrated slapping God right in the face with his rainbow. And folks, what was being chanted at these celebrations? We're here, we're queer, and we're coming for your kids. Is there anything more terrifying than those words? Now, I know you didn't see this in your media if you're watching the average news media. You have to look in the Christian networks and the conservative networks to find these truths that are really going on around us. They're not hiding it anymore. They're coming for our children. This is not political, people. This is God's children. And if you think that it is a political thing, then the devil is already winning. He has his church right where he wants it, irrelevant to carry out God's word and God's work, irrelevant in the rescue of God's children. This 4th of July, a movie will be released called The Sound of Freedom. And this movie is about human and sex trafficking of children. It took 8 years to get this film to the big screen. They had to fight their way through the political and Hollywood elites. Why would this be? Why do we have to fight to protect the children? Do you realize that since they opened our borders, the number of kids being sold into sex trafficking has gone through the roof? Why? Because our government was supposed to protect children, made it not only easier, but profitable for the Mexican black markets to steal and sell children. Some parents even sell their own children into this slave market of horrible evil. This evil is flooding across the border and into our nations. In our nation, it's here in the United States. That's how sick and how corrupt we have become. We are abusing and using children for horrible, horrible things. These folks are facts. These are not political propaganda. I'm so tired of being told we're too political. This stuff is true. Get on the internet and find out. As soon as you say internet, everybody goes, oh, well, look at the Christian stuff then. The people that are really out there on the front and are doing the work. They're telling you, and nobody's listening. The churches are not listening. Children are at risk here. Our children will be next. If you want to look up Tim Ballard, this movie is about Tim Ballard's story, and it is amazing. When these men were asked why they worked so hard to get this movie to the screen, and why men like Tim Ballard put their lives on the line for these children, the answer was because God's children are not for sale. And their question back to us is, can we love our children more than evil? Right now in California, a law has been passed through their House. It has to make it through their Senate and be signed by Governor Newsom. But this bill, if it is passed, will charge parents who will not go along with their child's affirmation of their sexual identity and gender preference. They will be charged, and some of those parents will lose their children if this is passed. Imagine being made the abuser because you won't allow your child to be pumped full of hormone drugs or be mutilated and rendered sterile. This stuff sounds like it came out of Germany. And here it is, it's us. We're doing this in our country. My mother was a registered nurse, and she used to say to us, there's 2 things you just don't do. You do not mess with drugs that mess with your hormones. They always will come back because there are mental and physical problems that come from these kind of drugs. Another thing she told us is you don't go under a surgery ever that's not necessary. Can you imagine having your child and signing papers to let them lock off natural, healthy parts? This is insanity, people. We've got to speak up. We've got to do it. If we don't do it, who's gonna? The church has to be the people. God's people have got to start speaking up. And I know there's some of you that'll poo-poo this and you won't believe me, but there is also another video out right now called Nefarious. And you might want to watch that movie because I think it might open a lot of blind eyes to the truth of how the devil works and how well he is succeeding in this nation. This isn't out there anymore. It's not those other third worlds. It's here. It's right here. We are doing horrible things to our children, and people are turning a blind eye because the elite are okay with it. The politicians are okay with it. We've got to stand against the elite and against the politicians, or our children are doomed. I'm sorry to be a downer, but this is what is going on. This is the facts, and we've got to get it. We've got to light a fire under our feet and get moving. So please, please, if I don't come up here and tell you this, are you going to pray about it? We've got to at least pray. Prayer is powerful, very, very powerful. So let's start praying today. Make it, put it on your refrigerator, put it everywhere. Pray for what's going on, what's happening to our children. We've got time to stop these things. Let's do it.
Thank you, Cindy, for an eye-opener. We do need to be made aware of these things. You know, we get busy with life and you don't think about these things on a day-to-day basis. But with families going through this stuff, it never goes away. So at prayer time is the perfect time to bring that up, actually. As far as the prayers, look into your